Welcome to the 2024 Jimmy V Men's Classic presented by Corona. We are here, as always, for this event in New York City, and glad you are along with us. The city is festive. It is beautifully lit up for the holidays, and we are inside Madison Square Garden, which for so many years has been the home of this event, to bring you some really good basketball, but also to talk about an incredibly important cause. The #1 team in the nation, the Tennessee Volunteers, are here to take on the Miami Hurricanes in the first game of the doubleheader. The overriding message, as you can see, don't give up, don't ever give up. And welcome Dan Shulman and Jay Bilas. So glad to be a small part of this event, and so glad you are with us. There is no more important cause, there is no more important night on our calendar here at ESPN than this night tonight.
It's the most important night. You mentioned the #1 team in the nation, the Tennessee Volunteers. The #1 team in the nation in the fight against cancer is the V Foundation. And the stars of that team are on the front lines in research, fighting this disease every day. We're the role players, and our role is to give the resources that the professionals need in this fight against cancer. We've made incredible gains, but there's still a long way to go.
And we'll be passing along the message, telling how you can help. Let's talk a little basketball right now. And Rick Barnes, who's been at this a long time, has one heck of a team so far.
The Volunteers are national championship good. They've got a great defense again, but I think what sets this team apart this year is they're a better offensive team than they have been. Zakai Ziegler is their most important player, but their best offensive player is Chaz Lanier. Transferred in from North Florida. He averages over 19 points per game, but over his last 4 games, he's averaging 24, shooting 47% from threes, the #1 3-point shooter in the Southeastern Conference, and Miami's going to have to pick him up early and not leave him, because he can give you 30 in a heartbeat. Rick Barnes says he's a better shooter than Dalton Knecht was last year. And for Miami, the Hurricanes have been scuffling a little bit to start this year, 3-6, but they're a very good offensive team. They can score, but they have to have great play out of their best player, and that is Nigel Pack. He had 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists against Arkansas in the SEC-ACC Challenge, but he followed that up with a bagel against Clemson. Did not play well. He's got to bounce back and have one of his better games against Tennessee.
Just about ready for the tip-off here, but first let's go to our colleague across the court, Jess Sims.
As you said, Dan, it is way bigger than basketball here tonight, and it's given Miami's head coach, Jim Larrañaga, a chance to reflect on his time with Jim Valvano, including the time where Jimmy V kept his entire family up till 4 o'clock in the morning telling stories over wine and cigars. He said his energy was absolutely fantastic, and it is an honor to play on his behalf tonight. New York native coach Larrañaga is expecting 30 friends and family members, including his brother, sister, their kids, his 3 oldest childhood friends, and quite a few former players. It's going to be special.
Jess, thank you. Indeed, it will, on a number of different levels. The #1 team in the nation, Tennessee, taking on Miami. Just 4 previous meetings between these two programs. Tennessee 3-1, and 2 coaches who have had a tremendous amount of success in Jim Larrañaga and Rick Barnes. And we are underway with Zakai Ziegler and the Bulls getting the first look.
Miami starts out in man-to-man. Austin Swartz guarding Chaz Lanier.
And that didn't take long, did it? He is a bucket, and he is scoring a ton right now for Tennessee, averaging almost 19 a game and putting up great numbers from beyond the arc.
Zakai Ziegler, one of the best defenders in the country, if not the best on the perimeter, is guarding Nigel Pack.
Lynn Kidd can't get the left-handed jump hook to go. The transfer from Virginia Tech, and back comes Tennessee. Nice shot fake. The drive inside. Igor Milicic will lay it up and in, and it's a quick 5-0 start for Tennessee.
Well, Milicic with that shot fake, and the defense with a raise of the eyebrows left the floor. That opened up the middle completely for Milicic, who's really a skilled player. He could play the point if Barnes wanted him to.
A look from the corner won't go down for Austin Swartz, but an offensive rebound for Kidd. And a good cut, and the layup will go for A.J. Staten-McCray, a transfer from Sanford.
Staten-McCray had 9 points and 7 rebounds against Clemson.
Miami comes in on a 6-game losing streak. Won their first 3 against lower mid-major competition, but they have lost 6 in a row coming into this one. Seemed very loose and upbeat at shoot around today, but they know they've got their work cut out for them against Tennessee. Milicic cut off and had that partially blocked. And it's down to the Canes.
One thing Ziegler does such a good job of is getting pressure on the ball, gets right over the top of that screen, not going under against Nigel Pack, and then just knocks it away from him. Gets such great hands.
What a career Rick Barnes has had. This is his 10th season in Knoxville, his 38th season overall. Only John Calipari has more wins among active men's D1 head coaches. And oh, by the way, Coach Cal's in the second game tonight. Arkansas and Michigan still to come here with the Jimmy V. A turnover. Ziegler up top. And it's turned back over to Staten McCray and Miami.
Miami's had some turnover issues this season, and they have to take great care of the ball. What a great shot fake by Pack.
And Nigel Pack is on the board, and it goes without saying, but we'll say it anyways. For them to have a chance, he's got to have a big, big game.
Well, he's averaging 14 points on the season, and he makes over 2 threes per game. But he's the type in pick and roll action. He can split defenders. He can snake the pick and roll. And you foul him, it's automatic from the line.
Speaking of automatic, Chaz Lanier pretty close from beyond the arc. His second three of the night.
Lanier played for Matt Driscoll at North Florida. And I have never heard a coach be more effusive about a player that transferred than Matt Driscoll is about Chaz Lanier. Just raves about Lanier and what a great teammate, great player, great competitor that he was for him.
He took a huge step forward last year. Was a 4 or 5 point a game guy last year, up to 19 transfers up to Tennessee, and basically, Jay, he's recreated the numbers that he had last year with the Ospreys.
Boy, look at Milicic grabbing the rebound. He can rip and run, bring it up on his own. Doesn't need to outlet it. That makes Tennessee that much faster.
Kidd, the 5-man out on Lanier. Lanier's going to drive him, but he misses it.
This is a real, Dan, rebounding challenge for Miami. You have to have all 5 guys on the defensive glass to have a chance to win this game. You can't give extra possessions to this Tennessee team. They're too good.
And rebounding has not been a strength of this Miami team, and it was a focal point, a discussion point at shoot around today. Pack misses the 3, and down with the rebound is Ziegler, who Rick Barnes says he and his staff believe that Zakai Ziegler is the best point guard in the country. He is the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He is an assist machine, and he has been a great part of this program for the last 4 years. Staten McCray with a 3, and this game is tied.
When Tennessee puts up a shot, if they don't get the offensive rebound, you have to get back and get organized defensively really quickly, because Miami can score. This is a good offensive team. Their problems have come from not defending consistently.
Jemai Meshack rattles home a 3 to put Tennessee back on top.
Well, you talk about a guy who can really defend. Jemai Meshack is one of those. He was the reason they won, in my judgment, last year when Tennessee won at Alabama in SEC play. He was everywhere in that game.
They had a great year last year. SEC regular season champs, Elite 8. And there's Austin Swartz, the freshman from Concord, North Carolina. A deep one, and it's tied again. Milicic off the front of the rim and down to Pack as Miami looks for the lead.
Tennessee may have been settling. They're trying to play fast and take the first good shot that they get. But you need to work. If you don't have anything initially, work this Miami defense and get an opening. Because with the way Tennessee can offensive rebound against this team, that's going to be a factor in the game.
And a foul is called on Staten McCray. 5:15 into the game. Tied at 11 here in the opening game of the doubleheader. A couple of guys who have been very successful for a very long time, and as we'll find out, have a lot in common. We'll tell you more when we come back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Corona Extra. Find the fine life. Live La Vida Más Fina. And in part by Visit Myrtle Beach. You belong at the beach. Well, this game features the only 2 active Division I men's head coaches who are on the Naismith Hall of Fame ballot. And they have a lot of similarities. One played at Providence, the other coach. They each were the head coach at George Mason. Barnes before Larrañaga. They are 1-3 in games coached, men's Division I, and 2nd and 6th in wins. Amazingly enough, though, they've only faced each other once before. It was back in the late 80s. It was Bowling Green for Larrañaga, Providence for Barnes, as you see where they stand on the current active wins list, 2nd and 6th. John Calipari first. Rick Barnes doesn't remember much about that game back in 1989, but Jim Larrañaga told us he remembers who the foul was on, who the referee was, who made the call, that it was a bad call, it shouldn't have happened, and they lost 81-79. He remembers it. There is no better storyteller in college basketball than Jim Larrañaga, and he told us about that game like it was yesterday.
So you think he's the #1 storyteller? I'm not saying I disagree. Who's second?
Who's second?
I had to put you on the spot.
Well, since Rick is going to watch the tape, let's say it's Rick Barnes. And Rick Barnes is fantastic.
That's pretty close. I think you may be right there.
Yeah, these two might be 1-2, but Jim Larrañaga has unbelievable recall about recruiting visits and where the foul was and who the official was. He reminded us of a technical he took when he was an assistant at Virginia in '83. Nigel Pack knocks one down. Good start for him and the Canes. Cade Phillips in off the bench now for Tennessee, a sophomore from Jacksonville, Alabama. And he's getting a lot of minutes right now. Tennessee only has 8 available scholarship players in this game. They are dealing with some injuries. Miami looking to run. Tough one, and it won't go for Staten McRae.
This is where Tennessee, they look to push a little bit more often this year than in some of the years past.
Phillips deflected but caught by Gainey. Jordan Gainey in off the bench, and he is shooting the ball much better this year than he did last year, really giving them a boost offensively off the bench. Phillips a miss, and down with a rebound of Brandon Johnson, a senior from Raleigh who transferred in from East Carolina.
That shot by Phillips shows you just how hard it is to operate out of that short roll.
Good look from Lynn Kidd, but the three a little bit short for Jaleel Bethia, one of the top incoming freshmen around the sport this year.
A McDonald's All-American that can really score, really quick.
Tied at 14, nearly 7 minutes in. Meshack. Now Ziegler with 10 to shoot.
Tennessee's got to figure its spacing out a little bit. That action they ran, they were just too bunched up.
Coming up next here on ESPN, the 30th annual Jimmy V Classic rolls on. We got the second game, and it looks to be a good one. Michigan off to a great start. Wolverines are 8-1 and shot their way from unranked up to 14. This week they will take on John Calipari's Razorbacks. A great night for a great cause. Don't forget to donate to the V Foundation. Go to v.org.
In that Michigan-Arkansas game, you're going to see something you don't often see, and that's Michigan has 2 big guys that are both over 7 foot tall. Danny Wolf, who transferred in from Yale, and Vlad Golden, the transfer from Florida Atlantic. Those two get together in 4 or 5 ball screen action, 2 7-footers in pick and roll. It's really amazing to watch them do that. It's really hard to defend.
Wolf is a unique talent in the way that he can handle, and they run offense through him. And it took a few weeks for the 2 big guys to figure out how to really make it work on the court. But boy, they got it going right now. Phillips back to Ziegler.
Miami's been defending pretty well to start this game. Good back cut.
Oh, and a nice little hesitation by Milicic. Couldn't finish it, but he draws a foul.
Milicic is going to be a really important player for Tennessee this year. He transferred in from Charlotte. He started his career playing for Tony Bennett at Virginia. And here's the back cut. You take your eyes off and turn your head, which Paul Jobay did, and you just cut right to the basket. You did a little shot fake by Milicic. But he's a stretch big. He can step away and shoot it, but you can also run offense through him because he's mobile, versatile, and a good passer.
And Rick Barnes told us they went into the transfer portal looking for somebody like this. They wanted a stretch 4 that could do a lot of different things, step out, and they could run offense through. Said at the beginning it was almost like he was trying too hard and, you know, trying to really prove to everybody he belongs at this level. He said the game has really started slowing down for him recently.
Well, it takes a while to pick up the Tennessee system, both defensively and on the offensive end. You know, they run that initial rub stagger action, and
Johnson with a 3, misses it wide left. And it's down to the Vols. Chaz Lanier's already hit a couple of threes tonight. Good pass fake there by Milicic. Lanier. Too strong. Boy, did he get rid of that in a heartbeat, though. That ball does not stay in his hands very long.
He gets it off quick. He doesn't have a high release, but a lot of great shooters don't. That ball starts off right about his forehead, but he does get it off quickly.
8.5 minutes in, and Miami right there with Tennessee right now as Matthew Cleveland draws the foul. And we'll be heading to the free throw line when we come back. A 2-point lead for Tennessee over Miami, 8:32 into the game. And when we come back, Jay Bilas, Jim Larrañaga, 94 feet here with the world's most famous arena.
He should have asked me the question.
94 feet with Miami's Jim Larrañaga. Now, you're a New Yorker, grew up in the Bronx. What do you miss about New York, miss most?
The hot dogs and the pizza.
You played in Madison Square Garden in college. What was your first game here like?
We played against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and UCLA, the #1 team in the country. Played him pretty tough. One of my teammates, Vic Lucci, had 36 that night.
What did you hold Kareem to?
I think it was 32.
32, okay. Who's the best player you've ever actually guarded as a college player?
Probably Dr. J.
That's how did he do against you?
And one of the games, he had 27 points and 28 rebounds.
Wow. Block out. What does the V Foundation mean to you?
Well, I think the research to find a cure for cancer is the most important thing we can do for our health, for the whole world. And the V Foundation has inspired so many people to contribute and help in trying to find a cure.
Words to live by. 94 feet.
It is V Week at ESPN, when we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research, game-changing research that helps save lives. You can join the fight against cancer by visiting v.org/donate. 100%, every single dollar of your donation goes directly to cancer research.
And although his players may not remember it or know it, Jim Larrañaga was a really good player at Providence.
Yes.
And he played for Joe Mulaney and for Dave Gavitt. And he played actually in high school here at Archbishop Molloy for the legendary Jack Curran. And so he's had basketball in his blood from the very beginning, and one of the truly interesting careers in all of basketball.
He was a 15 to 20 point per game guy in his 3 years playing for Providence.
And did all that wearing canvas chucks. The 2-3 zone right now, trapping on the sideline from Miami. You get against this zone, you've got to get into the gaps of it.
Phillips looking for help. Good little bounce pass inside, and Milicic with a jam.
Once you get it into the middle, it's going to collapse. You play against the old Syracuse zone, you got it into the middle, the zone would fan out to shooters, and then you'd have to have a playmaker in the middle.
One of the injured players for Tennessee is 6'11" sophomore J.P. Estrella, who would be getting minutes up front. More of an opportunity for Phillips. It's really 3 guys for the 2 front court spots right now for the Vols. Corner 3 around and out and down to Tennessee. Meshack, a burst of speed. Lanier is wide open. And boy, was that beautifully executed by Tennessee. And Jim Larrañaga cannot be happy with the transition defense.
Well, that was transition getting a piece of the paint. And it made all 5 defenders react. And then you saw Chaz Lanier. You get a piece of that paint, it collapses the defense. You give a catch and shoot to Lanier, it's over.
Ready, set.
First game of the doubleheader here at the Jimmy V Classic, presented by Corona. Dan Shulman, Jay Bilas, Jess Sims, 6-point lead for the #1 team in the nation, the Tennessee Volunteers. This is all a part of V Week. v.org/donate is where we are asking you to go. Any amount, no matter how big or how small, is greatly appreciated.
Jermaine Meshack now on Nigel Pack. That puts a little more size on him and length.
And there is a foul committed by Meshack.
He's got a little arm bar on him. But Meshack works as hard as any defender in the country. Athletic, gets to the glass, gets stickbacks, and has the handle of a point guard, but just a great culture guy.
Can guard 1 through 5 too.
1 through 5,
Yeah.
sometimes 6.
Well, off the bench for Miami, Paul Jobé, number 10. A 6'7" sophomore from France, and freshman Divine Ugachukwu wearing number 99 for the Hurricanes. Jim Larrañaga generally is going 10 deep so far this season. Cleveland. And boy, would a return to form for Cleveland really help the Hurricanes' cause. This guy's been a very good player. Florida State, Miami, for the last several years, had an injury late September, cost him 3 weeks of practice time. And Jay, it's just taken him a while, it seems, to kind of get back into the groove.
Yeah, he was out for about 3 weeks, and it was one of those injuries where he couldn't work out at all during that period. So he lost some wind, and as a result, Jim Larrañaga thinks he lost some confidence. But that was a confident 3 he just knocked down on the relocation pass. But against Arkansas, he looked like he was back to his old self. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, double-double. He's more of a driver slasher, really good in transition. But Miami needs him to play well in order to be their best self.
Milicic can shoot it, and he showed you right there. Igor Milicic Jr., 32% from beyond the arc this year, but he is actually better than that. He had good numbers last year, 38%, and made 58 threes on the season. Again, they went looking for a stretch big, and they found one.
They had 13 double-doubles last year at Charlotte, averaged a little over 13 points and 8.5 rebounds. He was the 49ers' leading rebounder.
Looks like Matthew Cleveland's confidence is improving right now, Mr. Billis.
Well, he'll be back in the starting lineup if he continues to play this way. He's just a really good player. Started out at Florida State.
The save by Meshack. And then he tips it out, but it's into the hands of Ugachukwu, and a travel is called as 2 Miami players banged into one another.
Miami's had a couple of turnovers. That last steal that they got trying to get it to Cleveland, threw it out of bounds. And this one, you can't fault anybody. They're just trying to get down the floor, and he and Nigel Pack just ran into each other.
A close game, Tennessee by just 3. Ziegler into some heavy traffic. Nice find to Meshack in the corner, and he misses the 3.
And those long rebounds let you get out in transition.
Oh, what a look away there by Ugachukwu when he lays it in to make it a 1-point game.
He was expected to redshirt this year. Anytime there's a long rebound, that gives you the opportunity, if you're Tennessee, to maybe get an open 3. But if the defense gets it, you can take it the other way for an easy transition opportunity, and that's exactly what Ugachukwu did right there. And he's got good size, he's very skilled, and I think a good feel for the game.
Been in double figures a couple of times already this season for Miami, and here come the Hurricanes with an opportunity to take the lead 12 minutes in. Kidd being guarded by a good defender, very good shot blocker in Okpara, but Kidd wins the battle, and Miami has the lead.
As soon as he caught the ball, you're thinking jump hook. And he's got a right hand and a left-handed jump hook, and he shoots 70% on the season.
And last season, 67% when he was with Ohio State. It's no fluke what he's doing so far this year.
You talking about Lynn
Oh,
Kidd?
I'm sorry.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, thank you. Okpara for Tennessee, the transfer from Ohio State. I don't know if you noticed, the transfer portal is a busy place these days in college basketball.
What a play by Meshack to knock that away on the double.
Here comes Ziegler. He steps back behind the arc. And a foul is called on Ugachukwu.
Lynn Kidd, the 6'10" grad student, came in for Virginia Tech, does a great job of getting position, and a sweet jump hook with the right hand. It is Christmas time in New York City, and Dan Schulman's bought me nothing.
Welcome back to the Jimmy V Classic. As you can see, the score is Miami's up 1-25 against Tennessee's number 24. I'm joined by the one, the only, Dr. Marcia Tan, assistant professor at the University of Chicago. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Tan. Now talk to me. How has the Stuart Scott Grant helped you personally and in the research lab?
Well, the Stuart Scott Grant specifically funds research to end cancer disparities, and that's what I do. I work with tobacco cessation, so I help people quit smoking by getting them the resources that they need, and I really help those who are underserved and don't have those resources. And I work with community health workers. Those are the people who are the bridge between these underserved communities and the healthcare system. So because of this grant, I was able to develop a program that trains community health workers to help them support people in quitting smoking and also in their cancer experience at large.
Wow. And what does victory over cancer mean to you?
It means being prepared. It takes an army to do this work because cancer can come at any time, any place, and victory means having that battle plan, having those resources to help people live as well as possible.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Tanner, for the work that you're doing. It's so, so important. Back to you, Dan.
Jess, Dr. Tan, thank you so much. Jess mentioned Stuart Scott. Everybody remembers, of course, the great Stuart Scott. You know, what a force, what an entertainer he was on ESPN, and he passed from cancer 10 years ago now. The Stuart Scott Cancer Research Fund honors his legacy by awarding grants to scientists who are addressing racial disparities in cancer outcomes, and it provides opportunities to researchers from diverse backgrounds. ESPN and the V Foundation are proud to support this fund in Stuart's honor, and you can support it by visiting v.org/Stuart.
And tomorrow night here in New York City, there's going to be the Booyah Gala for the Stuart Scott Foundation, and we're looking forward to being there and having a great time as we raise even more money for cancer research.
Jay is one of the MCs of that event and also on the board of directors of the V Foundation. A close game here at Madison Square Garden. Tennessee, the #1 team in the nation as of this week. They are up 2 on Miami. Cleveland has hit a couple of threes. Still got some time. 7 on the shot clock. And back to Nigel Pack. Deep range for Pack. Trying to go inside, and he lost it. It's out of bounds and over to Tennessee on a shot clock violation.
Miami did not get any closer than 5 feet from the lane on that possession. That was just on the last drive by Nigel Pack. You know, this Tennessee defense does a great job of talking and communicating.
And a nice look at a 3 there for Jordan Gainey, but it won't go down. Cleveland in transition. Nice look into the corner. And the 3 too strong for Swartz. Boy, both of these teams are taking a ton of threes so far in this game.
And they're making them. I mean, after that last timeout, both teams are 6 of 12 from 3.
Nice look inside to Okpara. Had it knocked away by Kidd. Shot clock did not reset. Didn't get to the rim.
A good job by Swartz to cut off that drive by Gainey.
Just a freshman, but Swartz has good size, good length out on the perimeter. Meshack. Gainey for 3.
But what a great drive by Jahmai Meshack. We talk all the time about paint touches, you know, getting a piece of the paint. And just that one drive, you have to stunt and recover, and that opened up that corner 3.
Good cut there by Swartz. Gets a piece of the paint, but can't hit the shot.
And that's what Tennessee wants to do, is force tough 2s and then not give up a second chance opportunity.
And off the leg of Pack.
Meshack just with a little crossover. He draws 3 defenders, and when you help off a corner shooter like that, you know, Swartz is better off just faking or stunting and staying with Gainey over in that corner, because you're giving up a wide open corner 3, which is by analytics the easiest 3 to hit, instead of giving up a tough 2. Make them make the 2, not give up the wide open 3.
Milicic again looking inside. Okpara. Big battle with Kidd, and it rolls off the rim and down to Miami. Brandon Johnson.
A good strength by Kidd to hold his ground.
Cleveland short on this one, and it's Tennessee ball.
Yeah, that might have been a better shot fake and drive, because Okpara, he's long-armed. He put great pressure on that shot.
There have been 46 field goal attempts, now 47 field goal attempts in this game. 29 of them have been three-point tries.
And for the most part, all the 3s have been good 3s.
Long stretch without a whistle here, and a good matchup. Nigel Pack, Miami's best player, terrific offensive player, against Zakai Zeigler. That three won't go for Staten McRae.
And I wouldn't call that a good three. That was forced. Didn't make a pass. It was a challenge three with
Ziegler gets inside and lays it in. 5 points now for Ziegler.
And Ziegler with this year's Tennessee team can operate a little bit more off the ball. And he leads the SEC in assists again. And he's the reigning defensive player of the year in that league. But Rick Barnes says, you know, primarily he's a shooter.
He's 5th in the nation in assists right now at almost 7 per game.
Boy, that was a great shot fake by Nigel Pack, but Felix Okpara got there as a secondary defender to challenge that shot.
Ziegler into Milicic, and he gets called for steps.
Zakai Ziegler averages 8 assists per game. That leads the SEC. Gets into the lane, but finishes. Why give an assist when you can score like that?
As always, a special thank you to Corona for their continued support of the V Foundation. We are here with the Jimmy V Classic. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Jess Sims. And to be in here in New York, look who's here, Allan Houston. Great player with Tennessee, great player with the Knicks. Played on some really good teams, and he is here taking in the action tonight as Rick Barnes brings his top-ranked volunteers into this. We talked about off the top of the show, Jim Larrañaga, Rick Barnes, the only 2 active men's Division I head coaches who are finalists for the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. And I think you and I are in agreement. We both hope that both of these men get enshrined into the Hall of Fame before too long.
And I believe they should. And Rick Barnes has had an extraordinary career. Went to Lenore Ryan College in Hickory, North Carolina. He's always been called Little Ricky from Hickory. But just a great coach. Did a spectacular job at Texas. Went to the Final Four in 2003 with TJ Ford, who we saw Sunday when Texas played UConn. It's hard to believe that's 23 years ago.
I know. And you buried the lead. He's the second best storyteller in college basketball.
Exactly.
And that should be enough to get you into the Hall of Fame. But two great coaches and 2 great people as well. I know you and I both really enjoy anytime we get a chance to spend some time with either one of them. Getting physical. Kidd draws a double, and the jump hook won't go down for him.
Matthew Cleveland on Chaz Lanier now. Good fake.
And the mid-range game for Lanier, not just a 3-point shooter.
Lanier was, what, 5'6" when he was like in 9th or 10th grade. And his first year playing in North Florida, he scored 17 points total. And now he's one of the best scorers in the country at any level. Just a spectacular player. Matt Driscoll did such a great job with him at North Florida. And I don't think Chaz Lanier has a better cheerleader or more vocal cheerleader than his coach at North Florida for the Ospreys was Matt Driscoll.
To the point where Matt Driscoll said, "You're so good, you got to go somewhere. You got to go. I mean, I'd love to keep you, but you got to go." And for Chaz Lanier, he's a Tennessee guy. He's from Nashville, and all he had to do was look back 1 year and see the experience that Dalton Knecht had under Rick Barnes, and look what Knecht turned into and continues to turn into now at the next level. So it seems like a perfect match. Ziegler, long on the 3. Great offensive rebound by Meshack. Open look for Gainey. And down with it is Nigel Pack, who was fouled by Milicic. Women's college basketball Thursday night on both ESPN and the app. Paige Beckers and number 2 UConn against Hannah Hidalgo and number 8 Notre Dame from South Bend. A great early season test for both. Coverage tips at 7 Eastern.
Nice to see Paige Beckers back completely healthy. And she's playing exactly the way you expect a National Player of the Year candidate to play.
Pack surrounded by 3 volunteer defenders. Finds the open man, now gets it back.
Tennessee just swarms to the ball, but more importantly, after they do, they recover.
The last several years, they have been an outstanding defensive team. Look at how hard Bathia's having to work. Can't get a shot off. Pack the miss, and it's Tennessee ball. The last 4 years, Jay, in terms of defensive efficiency per KenPom, Tennessee's been 3rd, 1st, 3rd, and 2nd. Not in the SEC, nationally the last 4 years.
They make everything difficult, and it all starts with the guy you're looking at right there, Zakai Ziegler, who at the point of attack puts great pressure on the ball. Active, getting steals and deflections. But when you have a guy like Ziegler that disrupts the start of any offense and then works as hard as he does, that's contagious. Little stagger, get it wrapped.
Ziegler pass. And the flush for Milicic. It is a 12-0 run now for the Bulls.
The cutter, instead of coming off the stagger, which is 2 defenders in a row, just wraps that first one, and then the low screener comes off. That was Ziegler. That was just really well run by Tennessee.
Miami scoreless for more than 6 minutes right now after going toe-to-toe with Tennessee for a long time.
Well, now Tennessee's getting into a rhythm, not an offensive rhythm. They started this rhythm on defense. And it doesn't say in the rule book that you can't start your rhythm defensively.
And here's a steal by Meshack. Driving on Bethea, and he'll lay it in.
He is one tough customer. Etiwanda High School in Southern California. He was an all-CIF player. And you got to be a stud to be all-CIF.
So another all-CIF guy keeps telling me, like almost every single broadcast. I might need some photographic evidence. I'm not doubting you.
Here comes the steal. Great deflection by Meshack. Just takes it all the way, gets his shoulders past the defender. And then after that little stagger action with Ziegler coming off, then Milicic with the slip to the basket and the delivery by the #1 assist man in the SEC, Zakai Ziegler.
He's got 6 tonight, and Milicic is having himself a half. He's got 11 points and 6 rebounds.
Ziegler averages 8 assists a game. That leads the league, and he's got 6 in the first half. Nice keeper.
And another Hurricanes turnover. And Jim Larrañaga is beside himself on the bench right now. Coming up at the half, it's the Jeep halftime report. Kevin Negandhi, Jay Williams, and Seth Greenberg. They'll have highlights, and also during during halftime, Stuart Scott's daughters Taylor and Sydney will join Kevin Negandhi on the set.
And Taylor and Sydney have 2 great things going for them. One, they're beautiful young women that are really engaging and a pleasure to listen to. And number 2, they are not Seth and Jay Will.
You're going to give it's going to come back at you. It's going to come right back at you.
But it'll come back monosyllabically with really poor syntax. Nobody will be able to understand it.
Making their way into MSG. And yes, this is how you get in. You go through the metal detector at the bottom of the ramp. You get your cardio in as you're walking up to the level where the court is. That is Dusty May, the first-year head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, of course, after some very successful years at Florida Atlantic. He was in great spirits today at their shoot-around, and I would be if I had the kind of team that it looks like he has this year.
Dusty May is a former Bob Knight manager.
Yes.
When he was a student at Indiana.
So he is reacquainting himself with cold weather after being down in Florida for a number of years.
He's not going to get to wear shorts to work quite as much in Ann Arbor.
Shot clock turned off. Final seconds of the half. Close for about 13 minutes. Dominated the last 7 by Tennessee.
A tandem of big guys, almost in a tandem horn set. 2 guys in the corners.
Milicic and Phillips. It's Milicic back to Ziegler. 4 seconds. Got to get a shot off. And they will not get it off in time. As the first half comes to a close, Miami scoreless for better than 7 minutes at the end of the half. So Rick Barnes has to like the way the defense tightened up. And it is 38-25 as we go to Jess with Coach Barnes.
Coach, the Canes were scoreless in the last 7 or so minutes. What did you like about your defense?
Well, I didn't like the fact we weren't very good to start the game. We were giving them too much room, and they made some great shots, but they're a very efficient offensive team, and I thought they really took advantage of our heavy white line help. Really, we didn't do a great job on the ball screen, getting to reverse the ball, and then we didn't handle the hammer action. But we got more aggressive, started coming up with deflections and rebounding. That was a big difference, but still got to get better.
How do you keep up the momentum that you started offensively in the second?
Well, we've got to. You know, this is the pace we want, but we've got to, again, we've got to just do a better job we did a good job defensively at the end, but we got to do it for another 20 minutes.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Barnes preaches defense first, second, and third. So they have held Miami to 25 points, got a 13-point lead here in the first game of 2 at the Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona at Madison Square Garden. The halftime report coming your way after this break. Welcome back to the 2024 Jimmy V Men's Classic presented by Corona. Again, we are here in the annual home for the Jimmy V Men's Classic, New York City. We are inside Madison Square Garden for this great event. And glad you can be here with us. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Jess Sims is with us as well. And Tennessee really took over, Jay, the last 7-8 minutes of the game. Offensively, yes, but even more at the defensive end as we see who has the special sauce tonight presented by Kinder's.
Well, Tennessee really ratcheted up its defense in the second part of the first half, which most people would call the second quarter if we were smart enough to go to quarters. But they swarmed to the ball, had 2 on the ball. Chaz Lanier shoots the gap here. They're able to get a deflection and then take it the other way for something easy. A show and then recover. And great paint protection and doing a terrific job of getting back out to shooters. And then when there's a drive, that drive is angled out. It's not a straight line drive. And forcing a difficult shot and then rebounding that shot. Defensively, that's where Tennessee separates itself. And for Miami, they've got to do a better job and get tougher of making the catch they want in the spot they want. The quality of shot was much better for Tennessee in that first half than it was for Miami, and that's why there's a lead for the Volunteers in this one.
Miami with the first possession of the second half. And Matthew Cleveland, Jay, is starting the second half. Played well in the first half, made some shots, and as you said, it's only a matter of time. Lynn Kidd inside and one.
Yeah, Felix Okpara just not playing on the line, up the line. He let Lynn Kidd just get right in front of him to establish that position. Watch Okpara here. Lynn Kidd just steps right in front of him and seals him off. You have to play higher than that, on the line and up the line, to keep that pass from going in so easily.
Jess Sims had a chance to chat with Jim Larrañaga at halftime. Jess.
I did, Dan. I caught up with Coach Jim Larrañaga, and he said the first 13 minutes we did what we planned, and then we went one-on-one, and we took some really ill-advised shots. We have a lot of offensive-minded guys, but against a team like Tennessee, it just doesn't work like that. We got to stick with the game plan and execute the plays.
Jess, thank you. And Coach Larrañaga made not 1, but 2 changes in his lineup here to start the second half as Milicic adds to his totals. Jalen Blackmon, Jay, who did not start the game, is starting the second half. Now, he had started the first 7 games of the season, so he's done a lot of that. But obviously, Jim Larrañaga unhappy with what he saw from some of his players in the first half.
Well, Jalen Blackmon gives him a score, and they're trying to go inside a little bit more. I don't want to say they got 3 happy because most of the threes were good ones, but to Jess Sims' point, I think there was too much of Miami of not being able to run offense, so they had to settle for some shots, and they were challenge shots, and that's not a good recipe against Tennessee.
And Blackmon is a guy who can score better than 21 points per game last year with Stetson, and made 110 threes. First team All Atlantic Sun. The second foul on Milicic. Johnson looking inside at the foul line now. Kidd brings it back out.
A good job by Ziegler not to let Nigel Pack get that ball back.
Blackmon down to Kidd. They seem intent on going to their big guy. He finds Johnson in the corner, but Brandon Johnson can't knock down the 3, and here comes Tennessee on the run.
All 5 Tennessee Volunteers are on the defensive glass. They're not letting the big guys do it. Everybody goes to rebound before they jet out on the offensive end.
Tennessee picked 3rd preseason in the SEC. What a loaded conference. I mean, how good has the league been so far? Zakai Ziegler knocks down a 3, and right now the SEC has 5 programs, Jay, ranked in the top 10 of the nation.
Well, I don't think there's much debate, at least right now, about what the deepest and best conference in college basketball is. It's the SEC. I think they made that pretty loud and clear with their performance in the. Oh, wow. What a
Speaking of
play.
loud and clear, Matthew Cleveland with a jam.
And that was all because he used a great shot fake. And the Tennessee Volunteers just left the floor. You got to stay down on those fakes.
And a drive and a finish for Ziegler. If you're wondering, Tennessee won. The new poll came out yesterday. Auburn 2, Kentucky 5, Alabama 7, and Florida. Gators having a nice year. Florida is 9.
So what the SEC did in that ACC-SEC challenge was frankly stunning. 14-2.
And the crazy part is the two SEC teams that lost were Kentucky and Auburn. And they're both having great years.
Well, you can tell Miami wants to try to establish something in the paint with Lynn Kidd. And he's gotten off to a really good start in the second half.
8 points, 6 rebounds in the game so far for Kidd. And also playing it very well is Matthew Cleveland.
Chaz Lanier not closing out under control on Matthew Cleveland. And that just opened up a straight line to the basket. And even after knocking down a shot, you know, Miami not getting back in transition effectively, and Zakai Ziegler just able to get a layup. And that takes away. When you run good offense, you can't just give up a layup on the other end.
Zakai Ziegler, by the way, a Long Island guy, so he's got a lot of friends and family, no doubt, here at the Garden tonight. What's your favorite thing about watching him play?
Just he never takes a play off, and he is just so good defensively. You know, he may be small, but when you're good enough, you're big enough, and he is good enough.
Those are some of the family members here watching Zakai Ziegler. We asked Rick Barnes, ideally, how many minutes would you want to play him? And he goes, 32, 33. But if I fear I'm playing him too much, I look down, I say, Zakai, how are you? He goes, I'm good, coach. And he goes, okay, good, go back into the game. He's one of those guys that a coach feels you got to have him on the court almost every minute for your team to be its best.
Well, he is that important. But the other thing is, like, some guys can just play more minutes than other guys. Some guys need rest throughout the course of the game. Other guys don't. And Zakai Ziegler is one of those guys. He doesn't. I mean, when does he ever look tired?
No. Gainey got caught underneath the rim. So did Phillips. He got fouled.
But Cade Phillips has really improved in his time at Tennessee. Shoots over 70% from the field and a really good offensive rebounder. He and Felix Okpara, the transfer from Ohio State, both average about 2.5 offensive rebounds a game.
He had a very nice game against Syracuse, 12 points, 6 rebounds, had 11 points against Baylor.
And he's doing it in not a ton of minutes. Like per minute, you know, he's top 10 nationally in offensive rebound percentage.
The more notable wins for Tennessee so far this year would be Louisville, Virginia, Baylor, Syracuse. Every game, they're 8-0. Every game that a Rick Barnes team has played, they have won by at least 15 points. This is their 9th game, and in total, they have trailed for fewer than 7 minutes combined in those 9 games. They have barely been behind at any point this season. But again, they're playing in the SEC. It's going to get what kind of, can you imagine what league play is going to be like in the SEC?
Oh, it's going to be 2 months of fistfights.
Yeah. A steal by Phillips, and then he gives it right back. Swartz has it. Pack misses the 3. Meshack tips it. And it's out of bounds to the Vols.
Jermaine Meshack is everywhere. I mean, if that ball is long or loose, he's right there going after it.
You don't see many guys spending as much time in one program anymore, but Meshack experienced in this program. Ziegler very experienced, obviously, in this program. Just about every team, it seems, has 7, 8, 9 newcomers this year. So any holdovers much appreciated, I'm sure, by their coaches. Tough pull-up. And around and out for Lanier, who is having a good game. 11 first-half points. Pack got a switch, has Phillips on him. Driving him. Couldn't get the shot off. Now here's Meshack guarding a bigger defender. Phillips over to help. Out of bounds, still Miami ball. As we will step aside here early in the second half. That's our man, Dickie V, who, as he said, has gone through 4 different types of cancer, 4 different rounds. He's getting a new scan, more results on Thursday, 2 days from now. Dick, we love you. We're thinking of you. I can't tell you how many people have stopped me here today at the Garden and say, send our best to Dickie B. Dick, we are all praying for the best news possible on Thursday and hoping that you're back in an arena where you so love to be, calling a basketball game before long.
We're all with you, Dick. We love you.
Pack blocked by Gainey, and then an even better play by Gainey to keep the ball in bounds. The lob and the slam. Milicic to Phillips.
Boy, if that doesn't exemplify what Tennessee basketball is all about. A great play by Gainey defensively to save the ball, and it turns into 2 points on the other end. That's a deflating play for the opponent.
Kidd inside, switches to the left and draws the foul.
Tennessee just doesn't concede anything. Just a fabulous save by Jordan Gainey and a great job to get the ball down court. Beautiful lob from Milicic right to Cade Phillips. Fantastic. That's just fantastic basketball right there on both ends of the floor. Not both sides of the ball. Which, when did that start? People saying both sides of the ball. It's round.
It's, you could say it for football. You don't.
Yeah, but football, they line up on both sides of the ball. They're ends of the court or sides of the court. We've got to eliminate the scourge.
Or you could lighten up a bit. Your choice. and again, America, don't say up and under unless you're really confident about it.
It's a term of art.
50-35. Ziegler, the kick, extra pass, and now back to Ziegler. He's everywhere. Tried the lob again, and a terrific defensive play there by Brandon Johnson. Cleveland in transition, too strong off the glass, and back come the balls.
And that was a great play by Jemai Meshack, giving ground and just making that shot by Cleveland as tough as possible.
Nice look again. Phillips is fouled. Another great pass by Ziegler. Saturday at 8 Eastern on ESPN and the app, we'll have the 90th annual Heisman Trophy ceremony. The finalists, Oregon's Dylan Gabriel, Colorado's Travis Hunter, Boise State's Ashton Jeanty, and Miami's Cam Ward. Chris Fowler, how about this, will host for the 31st consecutive year.
And they're going to be giving that to Travis Hunter of Colorado. Plays both sides of the ball.
I see what you did there. Who's taking it all? Who's winning the national championship? We'll have time for this, but if you had to pick right now, who's your national championship?
Even though I think Oregon got jobbed with the way it was seeded in that tournament, or at least the route it got, not necessarily seeding, but the route. I mean, that's got to change. You can't have automatic bids getting a bye because you have better teams that are behind them. That's just not right in my view, but I like Oregon.
Cleveland can't get by Meshack, puts up a tough jumper, and a great collective job of boxing out there by the Volunteers.
And we've seen that all game long. 5 guys in white on the defensive glass before they take it the other way. They secure the ball first. Nobody leaks out, but Tennessee is just forcing really difficult shots by Miami.
And Miami, a pretty good offensive team. As you said in the first half, their struggles have not been at the offensive end. It's been at the defensive end for the Canes.
This Tennessee defense is like body blows in a prize fight. It is going to have a cumulative effect. And as you get to the latter part of the second half, they're still fresh and their opponent is beat up a little bit.
And how much of that is just the culture created by Rick Barnes, where defense and toughness are such a big part of it?
All of it. And the players, you know, I don't like the word buy-in because what Rick Barnes has is not for sale. But the players all are collectively invested into what they're supposed to do defensively first. And then everything flows from that.
What he appears to have this year is a team that's better with the offensive end. In some recent years, even if he had a great team, they would have droughts. They would struggle to score sometimes. But they are top 10 in offensive efficiency per KenPom at this early point of the season. Do you think this is sustainable? At the end of the year, we're going to say, hey, this was a really good offensive team.
Yes. I mean, Jordan Gainey's back for another year. I think having Igor Milicic Jr. on the team with his versatility, the fact he can stretch the floor at the 4 position. He can play some 5 if he has to in a small ball. But they bring in Cade Phillips. They've got really good depth. And they're down a couple of guys now due to injury and illness, all that stuff. But this is a deep, strong team that has a lot of different options and a lot of versatility on both ends of the floor.
Cameron Carr is a name we haven't mentioned yet. He's been out for a few weeks already, out at least a couple of more weeks with a thumb injury. JP Estrella is out for the season. There's Estrella. He is out for the season with a foot injury, but they are going to get Cameron Carr back, and that is an explosive wing player who can really help them.
Just a freak athlete. And when he plays with an edge, he can be really good defensively. Gets a lot of deflections. But what a talented player. Had thumb surgery. His dad is Chris Carr, played at Southern Illinois and played in the NBA for a long time.
Little weave up top here by the Hurricanes. Good show there by Phillips. Cross court look for Johnson. Misses the 3. Kidd with the rebound and the putback.
They're just too tough for Jordan Gainey to block out Lynn Kidd when he's able to wedge him under the basket like that.
Lynn Kidd is a guy that Jim Larrañaga recruited when he came out of high school, and then again when he transferred from Clemson to Virginia Tech. 3rd time's the charm as he gets him for his last year. You got to respect Milicic out there. Ziegler. And another alley-oop. It's Phillips again.
Just with that little ball screen in the slot with Milicic, it's just allowing Zakai Ziegler to get a piece of the paint. And when he does, the Miami defense just breaks down. It is so hard to keep Ziegler out of the paint.
Cade Phillips has 9 points tonight, Jay, and they're the last 9 points that Tennessee has scored.
Had that dunk in transition off the Milicic lob, then the lob from Ziegler after the ball screen action.
Ziegler will try a 3. Kidd down with a rebound. Tough catch. But then too much traffic defensively. Gainey did enough to bother Staten McCray to the point where he couldn't finish it.
It sounds like a little thing, but Tennessee stays between its man and the basket, and they make you score over them. You got to go through their chest if you want to get to the rim.
They are up 18 in a game that Miami led 13 minutes into the game. Austin Swartz. Contested shot. It will go, and it's a long 2 for the freshman.
A contested shot off the dribble. Swartz had 15 points against Charleston Southern. Good 3-point shooter. He's got an opportunity. He could wind up being the best perimeter defender on this Miami team.
Gainey is fouled. And a timeout on the floor. Tennessee clicking, Jay, right now at both ends of the floor.
Igor Milicic Jr. difficult to defend because when he sets a ball screen, he can roll or pop. He rolls here, piece of the paint, and then Cade Phillips ends it all with a great dunk. Nobody cuts him off along the baseline.
As we mentioned, this is just the first game of 2 tonight. Miami and Tennessee, Michigan and Arkansas still to come. The Wolverines are interesting, and obviously Arkansas is interesting too. John Calipari took some of his former players, some of the Kentucky recruits. He has put together a team that's got a lot of talent. Michigan playing very well, will be a very fun second game. Again, this is V Week. We're at the Jimmy V Classic. Jim Valvano, who created this foundation with that legendary speech. And there is Jim Valvano's brother, Bob Valvano. To know Bob is to love him. He is here doing the radio broadcast tonight, Jim's brother. And we love seeing Bob here and wherever we see him. Also does Louisville basketball as well. And, you know, to say this is a lasting legacy of Jim Valvano is a gross understatement. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been raised. It's wonderful, but we still need more. There's still not enough. And again, if you are able to, any amount is so greatly appreciated. All you have to do is go to v.org/donate.
And Bobby V has a great radio show in Louisville as well.
Yes, he does.
I'm a frequent guest. shooting the ratings through the roof.
Gainey into the paint. Pull up. Got it. That was nice.
He's got a lot of game, and he looks so much more comfortable this year at 12 points against Syracuse, 16 points against Baylor. He went 3 of 6 from 3 in that one.
And his dad, Justin, the associate head coach on the Tennessee staff.
And Justin Gainey, one of the top 5 point guards ever at NC State.
Ugochukwu, who had some good minutes off the bench, back in there and immediately lays it in. The freshman from Sugar Land, Texas, has played well in the minutes he's been out there.
Well, he's getting stronger as the season goes along. Coming into this game, he was 18 of 25 from the field. That's over 70%. In high school, he was a teammate of Hakeem Olajuwon's sons in Houston. And Olajuwon actually called Jim Larenega's son Jay, who's been in the NBA for a long time, and told him about Divine. And Miami wound up landing him.
Third foul on Milicic. Igor Milicic Jr. with the ball for Tennessee. Now off to Chaz Lanier. Some early threes for Lanier, but quiet recently. Still 11, all of them in the first half. Akpara picked up his dribble, finds Meshack.
And Lanier doesn't force anything, but I think Rick Barnes and his staff would like him to be even more assertive.
Nice pass. And Meshack the foul. Boy, you can see with all the attention Lanier draws, he's going to have open teammates. Jim Larenega didn't quite like that foul call.
Well, Chaz Lanier is 5th in the SEC in scoring. And we mentioned in his last 4 games, he's averaging 24 points, but he draws 2 defenders and able to just drop it off along the baseline in the dunker spot to Jemai Meshack.
Meshack, in addition to all the value he brings on the court, he's also very active off the court. He is the chair of the SEC Men's Basketball Leadership Council. He's very involved in community service. Recently put together a food drive and more, and there's more, and there's more. He is a terrific young man. "17-point lead Vols." Ugochukwu again, and he lays it in and is fouled.
Just a straight line drive from about 40 feet and got all the way to the rim. Just Jemai Meshack, he was able to turn down that screen because Meshack gave too much attention to him getting over the screen. And Ugochukwu just rejected it, took it the other way, and that was a straight line all the way to the basket.
Freshman Divine Ugochukwu, a 3-star recruit. 5 is the highest. You have a handful of 5s, a fair number of 4s as that is laid in. But the point is, Ugochukwu, I think, has opened up some eyes here with the way that he has played for Miami in the first part of the season. And with him and Swartz and Bethea, and actually Bethea's been very quiet tonight, there is promise in this freshman class for Jim Larenega.
Well, right now, Miami's just spreading out this Tennessee defense and trying to drive it. And they've driven it with aggressiveness, and they've been strong doing it.
And a 3-point play. The Hurricanes have made their last 4 field goal attempts, and they're back within a dozen.
And one of the things Jim Larenega is doing is trying to find combinations.
Out of bounds. John Gaffney, the official. He had a good look at it, made sure of it, and blew the whistle. It's Miami ball.
And Tennessee, for a good part of this game, has been playing with no game pressure. They had a 15, 18-point lead. And you knock down a 3 here. You get this inside of 10 points. Now all of a sudden, Tennessee's got some game pressure on them.
Ugochukwu got caught in the air, finds Staten McRae. Well, that would have gotten it down to single digits had it gone. Here's Ziegler. It's a good show by Kidd, and it leads to a turnover. Staten McRae, the crossover in the lay-in, and it's a 10-point game.
And really, that steal was made by Lynn Kidd. I think Rick Barnes is going to want a timeout.
Yeah, he is not happy right now. The lead is down to 10. A very quick 7-0 run by the underdogs, forcing a turnover and getting to the basket, Jay, at the other end.
Now watch the way Lynn Kidd hedges out on this screen. It was a hard hedge, led to a steal, and Staten McCray takes it the other way. Little Euro step, Dan. There's nothing after Canada. It's unfortunate.
So here comes Miami, and a couple of freshmen have played well. Austin Swartz has had some very good minutes, and so has Divine Ugachukwu, especially here in the second half. Jay being very assertive going to the glass.
Couple strong drives, and they've come from far out on the floor to spread out this Tennessee defense. And Miami also got a couple steals. A great job hedging out on that ball screen action up top, the high ball screen. And that hedge allowed Staten McCray to shoot the gap and take it the other way for an easy one.
Miami shooting 53% in the second half, a 7-0 run in under a minute for the Hurricanes.
Out of that timeout, Tennessee trying to get a backdoor from Chaz Lanier, but it was pretty well guarded by Swartz.
Lanier, a lot of traffic on that pass, and it's taken away.
A lot of traffic, and the pass was behind.
And a great pass there from Staten McCray into Kidd, and it's down to 8.
But how about this fight back from Miami?
This is the unbeaten, top-ranked team in the nation against a Miami program that has lost 6 in a row coming in. And it's an 8-point game. Ziegler out to Lanier. Pull up. And it goes. Soft touch from 15 feet.
Mid-range, deep. It's a 3-level score, Chaz Lanier.
13 on the night. The lead is 10. Shot clock at 10. Isaiah Johnson-Arigu into the game, number 4 for Miami. And there is Staten McCray, A.J. Staten McCray, the redshirt junior from Delray Beach, Florida. And again, it's down to single digits.
It's that ball screen not well defended by Felix Okpara. He's in drop coverage, and you need to be higher up on the ball.
Lanier is fouled and is heading to the free throw line. Austin Swartz committed the foul. And Lanier will be at the free throw line when we come back. Second game coming. The Hogs are in the building. The Razorbacks and the Wolverines in game 2 at the Jimmy V Classic. Wonderful things to fight cancer. This is representatives from Corona presenting a check for more than $2 million to the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And that's Burke Magnus, our boss, one of our bosses, the ESPN president of content, accepting that check since 2010. Corona, its distributors, business partners, and loyal consumers, get this, have provided more than $28 million to the V Foundation in support of game-changing cancer research. So the foul on Swartz, they confirmed during the timeout that Lanier's feet were behind the line, so it is 3 free throws. Swartz was bothered by the call. He made a motion to the official that he thought Lanier had kicked his legs out and that it was offense-initiated contact.
He was running by him, not at him. And he did kick out his right foot, but the official deemed it wasn't enough of a kick out to warrant running past him and making contact.
And 2 of 3 for Lanier to make it a 10-point game. Boy, I don't think this is a lineup that Jim Larrañaga spent a lot of time thinking would be in this game. He's got a lot of his younger players, a lot of his bench in the game right now, but he's playing the guys who are playing the best right now, regardless of the credentials they bring into the game. This is one of them. A block there by Zakai Ziegler on the jumper by Ugachukwu. And another block. This one by Milicic.
Boy, Tennessee ratcheting up the defense after that timeout. 1 second left on the shot clock. So you want to look lob, but also protect that three-point line.
Ugachukwu to inbound. Swartz got it off, but it's a shot clock violation as he didn't get the rim. Swartz, a freshman. Ugochukwu, a freshman. Johnson Arrigu, a freshman. All in the game right now for Jim Larrañaga.
Right now with a 10-point disadvantage for Miami, this is about getting stops. You know, they've scratched and clawed to get back within 10. But they've got to get stops here.
Meshack, Gainey, now Lanier. Shot fake again by Milicic. The drive and kick. Good ball movement. Lanier had a good look, tipped back out by Milicic, but it belongs to Miami. Great hustle by Ugochukwu. Boy, quick one by Swartz. Very quick shot in transition, but look at the hustle there by Staten McCray.
Tennessee just not able to corral that rebound, and Staten McCray taking advantage of it.
Boy, they are a stop and a score for making this very, very interesting. There's the stop. Can they get the score? Ugochukwu. Corner three will not go for Johnson Arrigu. It is Miami ball after a foul call on the Volunteers.
Jordan Gainey, the official saying he discarded with his left arm, and Gainey saying, "No, my left arm got grabbed."
Rick Barnes pleading his case with John Gaffney as well.
Take a look on the right side. There may have been an early grab, but that's a justifiable call.
And 1-1 for the Hurricanes.
Miami hasn't spent much time at the free throw line in this game. It's basically 2-1 in free throw opportunities for Tennessee.
And 1 of 2 for Ugochukwu. 7-point game.
Tennessee's got to get some movement.
Tennessee has led by as many as 18 in this one, but it's down to 7 now. Ziegler with 5 to shoot. Milicic gets it off, misses the 3, and Miami's got it. And then they turn it over, and Austin Swartz knows he made a mistake. Jim Larrañaga just said to him, calm down.
Yeah, just no advantage there. And that's what comes with, at times, being a young player, you know, trying to take an advantage just through an errant pass. You'd rather have possession than take that risk.
Under 5 to go in regulation. 3-minute drought here for the Vols. Milicic again. He got it.
But we've seen him pick and roll, that time pick and pop. And at 6'10", to be able to pop to the three-point line and knock it down, that's an additional weapon that I'm not sure this Tennessee team had last year. Milicic
averaging 12.5 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. He's got 16 and 8 tonight. Swartz in the corner, and another block. This time it's Gainey.
Got to have a shot fake there.
That's the 4th block for Tennessee, and 3 of them have come in about the last minute and a half. Great drive and laid in by Lanier. Boy, you got to play for, you got to respect the shot so much, but you do it too much, he's going right by you. 3:54 to go, 68-56 now. Tennessee leading Miami. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Corona Extra. Find the fine life. Live La Vida Más Fina. Well, there's so much going on in New York City, so much going on in Times Square, but the Vols grabbing #1, Tennessee being #1. This is big news even here in Midtown Manhattan, and they are looking, Jay, to go to a perfect 9-0 with a win tonight.
Little step-up screen by Igor Milicic. Even got grabbed. Now he's got to tuck his shirt in again. But he can knock down threes. 16 points, 8 rebounds, all of them defensive rebounds for Igor Milicic Jr. Got an assist, a block shot. And in this second half, although Miami has been much better than in the first, they've shot 46% in the second half, but they're still 0 of 11 from 3 in the second half.
Rick Barnes has only used 7 players tonight. They've got some injuries to deal with. They've only got 8 healthy scholarship players. 7 of them have played. Nigel Pack has not been in the game for a while. Jim Larrañaga puts him back in. Kind of now or never time for Miami to get some scores.
And not the best closeout by Tennessee on Nigel Pack. One, you don't want to be that far off. And he's one of those guys I don't think you should have to close out to, because you need to stay with him and move as the ball moves.
Ziegler draws a crowd. Milicic back to Ziegler. In the corner, Meshack. Air ball, Miami ball. Kidd with Meshack on him. Got a size advantage. And couldn't hit the jump hook.
Well, good decision, though, to get the ball inside to Lynn Kidd. He's clapping his hands, upset that he missed that. That might have been one to power to the basket to try to score, get fouled, or both.
He's had a good game, though. 14 points, 11 rebounds tonight.
Yep, he's been terrific.
Miami losing so many players. You'll remember Norchad Omier from last year, among others. He's now with Baylor.
Wooga Poplar went to Villanova.
Keyshawn George went pro. What a rebound there by Gainey, and the smart move to dribble it back out.
Boy, that last miss by Miami, that was a deflating one. They hit that, and you've got much more energy on the defensive end. Now they got to play basically 60 seconds of defense.
And using the window smartly is Chaz Lanier.
Everything he does is just so smooth. He never changes expression on the court.
Up to 19 on the night. He's the high scorer in the game. Pack, another 3, and very few in the country can get as hot and score in bunches like Nigel Pack can, but they need a lot more of it in the last minute 45.
That was really good action. Set a little back screen for Lynn Kidd, and then came off a little down screen. Screen for the screener action. He was wide open. A lot of times with your best shooter, you use them as a screener, and they have a great ability to get open off that.
And another one for Lanier, this time a corner 3.
What a weapon. What a weapon he is.
Dalton Knecht last year, Chaz Lanier this year for the Volunteers.
I think Chaz Lanier is going to be a much better defender, though.
Nice look inside, but Meshack got a piece of it. A terrific pass by Johnson Arrigu, but another good defensive play, this time by Meshack.
Meshack never gives up on a play. Never gives up.
Tennessee is going to remain undefeated. They hold off the Canes. Just 50 seconds to go. The Volunteers are going to go to 9-0. Miami had its moments in this one and showed some fight, but ultimately, Jay, it's going to be their 7th consecutive defeat. Ziegler inside.
Well, and even with this lead, this is the closest game they've had.
That's right.
As the buzzer goes off, if they don't get another score.
Ziegler now with 13 points and 9 assists in this game. Pack again. Misses the 3. Kidd the rebound. Down to the final 20 seconds. Pack playing right to the final horn. Finds Kidd. And it's out of bounds. And Jim Larrañaga coaching right down to the final horn tonight.
Boy, you look down at this Tennessee bench and you're thinking about all the fistfights they're going to have in the SEC with Auburn and Alabama. Georgia's a much improved team. Mason Newell is a terrific player.
And that is going to do it. Ziegler will dribble out the final seconds. And this one will come to an end. Number 1 Tennessee gets the victory, 75-62, to remain undefeated and go to 9-0 on the season. Got a big game from Chaz Lanier, big game from Igor Milicic Jr., and a big game from Zakai Ziegler as they beat the Hurricanes by 13 and go to 9-0 on the season. Coming up between games, we've got College Game Day covered by State Farm, and then we'll look ahead to Game 2. Who's excited about Michigan and Arkansas? Should be a great one. Jay and I very much looking forward to bringing you that game. We will also hear Jim Valvano's inspirational speech from the 1993 ESPYs that still resonates to this very day and is the reason we are all here tonight raising money to fight cancer through the V Foundation. You can go to v.org/donate to help out and give whatever you can give. But first, it'll be Jess Sims with one of the stars of the night, Chaz Lanier.
Chaz, 22 huge points for you in this game. How did you keep your composure despite, the back and forth in the second half?
Yeah, Miami's a good team. We knew that coming in, and we knew that they could get hot quick. So just staying composed and finishing the game out. So shout out to my team.
You just got a win in MSG, Jimmy V Classic. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's just a blessing to be out here with the guys I love the most. Come out here, have fun. So it was a good time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jess, thank you. Yeah, it was a good time. If you could play basketball like he does, it always would be a good time. He had a great night as Tennessee beats Miami 75-62. For Jay and Jess, I'm Dan Schulman. We're coming back at a second game coming your way. Michigan and Arkansas, less than 30 minutes away here from the Garden. And after the break, it is College Game Day covered by State Farm.